Ferrari is starting to get frustrated, so we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Ferrari news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. The first story is Vasseur admits it has been not ideal start for Ferrari in 2025 and addresses ride height concerns. Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur conceded it had not been an ideal start to 2025 for the Scuderia following a disappointing race in Japan, with Charles Leclerc finishing 4th and Lewis Hamilton 7th. It leaves Ferrari without a Grand Prix podium from the first 3 races of 2025, although that is tempered by the fact that Hamilton won the sprint event in China from pole position. However, Leclerc's P4 start in Japan is the best grid slot either teammate has managed for the Grand Prix proper, as they have watched rivals McLaren, Red Bull, and Mercedes make stronger starts to the season. It puts Ferrari in a very similar spot to that from last season, but they did turn their form around in 2024 and even won a handful of races, including memorable successes in Monaco and Monza. "I'm used to it because the last 2 years we started like this," Vasseur joked when asked how challenging the start to the year had been. "For sure it is not ideal, and I would prefer to win the first one. But we don't need to change the approach from last year, as we are almost in the same situation, perhaps a bit worse in terms of pace, and the reaction of the team was very, very strong. We worked as a team, made small step by small step, and we have to keep exactly the same approach, but for sure it is not ideal." With the double disqualification in China still fresh in the mind, Ferrari trail behind their rival teams in the championship. In Grand Prix, Leclerc now has a 4th and an 8th place finish to his name, while Hamilton has just a P7 and a P10. Hamilton's car was disqualified in China for a skid block infringement, a common problem if the car is run too low. Ride height has been a key component of getting the best out of these cars since the ground effect era began, and it is not the first time Ferrari have fallen foul of the rules. But Vasseur was keen to dispel the rumors that the SF25 car has a specific issue with running a lower ride height, and that this is what is costing the team those valuable last few tenths of a second. "We all want to run the car lower. We would all have more downforce in the situation for everybody, but there is a limit," he explained. "The limit is bottoming, and the limit is the regulations. We are all spending the weekend on where is the limit, and where can we run the car a bit lower, and then you are too low." In the second story, 3 races into the 2025 Formula One season, and Ferrari finds itself once again battling not just its rivals, but the ghosts of its own recent history. With Charles Leclerc finishing 4th and Lewis Hamilton coming home 7th in Japan, the Scuderia remains without a Grand Prix podium in the early stages of the season. While Hamilton did secure a sprint race win in China, his first in red, it hasn't translated into consistent Sunday success. The team's best starting position so far has been Leclerc's P4 in Japan, and both drivers have struggled to keep up with the early pace set by Red Bull, Mercedes, and particularly McLaren, who have surged to an early lead in the Constructors' Championship. It's a frustrating yet oddly familiar feeling for Ferrari, who started slowly in 2024 before turning things around with strong mid-season form and victories in Monaco and Monza that reignited belief among fans and within the team. Team principal Fred Vasseur, speaking candidly after the Japanese Grand Prix, admitted that the season's start has been far from ideal, but he's not panicking. "I'm used to it because the last 2 years we started like this," he said with a wry smile. "For sure, it is not ideal, and I would prefer to win the first one. But we don't need to change the approach from last year, as we are almost in the same situation, perhaps a bit worse in terms of pace." And the reaction of the team was very, very strong. Vasseur believes that just like in 2024, small incremental gains, not sweeping changes, will be key to turning the tide. "We worked as a team, made small step by small step, and we have to keep exactly the same approach. Ferrari's slow start isn't just down to pure pace. The team is still recovering from the disappointment of China, where Hamilton's SF25 was disqualified post-race for a skid block infringement. Essentially, the car was running too low to the ground, breaching ride height regulations. The disqualification cost Hamilton valuable points and intensified scrutiny over the Ferrari's setup. Ride height remains one of the most sensitive variables in F1's ground effect era, where running the car lower increases downforce but pushes the limits of legality and stability. Vasseur, however, was quick to dismiss suggestions that Ferrari's car fundamentally struggles with this balance. "We all want to run the car lower. We'd all have more downforce in that situation. It's the same for everybody," he explained. "But there's a limit, bottoming and the regulations. We're all trying to find that edge." He pointed to past incidents, such as Ferrari and Mercedes both getting disqualified at the 2023 US Grand Prix for similar infractions. "It's not a characteristic of our car this year. It's a challenge for the whole field." Still, Ferrari's numbers are concerning. Leclerc has finished 4th and 8th in Grand Prix so far, while Hamilton, adjusting to life in red after over a decade at Mercedes, has a 7th-place finish and a disqualification on his 2025 resume. The team sits 4th in the constructors' standings, a daunting 76 points behind McLaren, whose early form has taken the paddock by surprise. Despite this, Vasseur remains pragmatic. He cited Bahrain, a circuit familiar to all teams due to extensive preseason testing, as a potential turning point. But he also cautioned that there would be no magic bullet to unlock performance. "If last year we did a good step forward, it's not because we found something worth 3 or 4 tenths, he said. "It's because we put together several small areas: balance, drivability, the driver getting the best from the car. That's what makes the difference." In Japan, Leclerc was just fractions away from a stronger qualifying result, losing key time in the final chicane in the first corner. Vasseur noted that other drivers, including McLaren's Oscar Piastri, were also struggling to extract the maximum from their packages on a challenging weekend. "It was difficult to get the best from the car," he admitted, "and we need to improve on the drivability to unlock the full potential." The SF25, while not a disaster, clearly lacks the edge needed to challenge for wins at this stage. But Vasseur is banking on Ferrari's proven ability to develop mid-season and build momentum. With Hamilton still acclimating and Leclerc hungry to return to the top step of the podium, the Scuderia still holds cards worth playing. As the paddock heads toward Bahrain and beyond, Ferrari finds itself in familiar territory, behind but not out. And if 2024 taught them anything, it's that perseverance, unity, and strategic development can bring them back into contention. The championship may not be won in April, but it can certainly be lost. For Ferrari, the clock is ticking, but belief remains. In the third story, the 2025 Formula One season may still be in its early stages, but tension is already beginning to bubble under the surface at Scuderia Ferrari. Following a difficult start to the campaign, the spotlight has landed on Lewis Hamilton, Ferrari's marquee signing, who suspects his SF25 might be suffering from a technical flaw not present on the sister car driven by Charles Leclerc. Hamilton, who joined the Scuderia amid great fanfare and anticipation, has found himself battling the midfield rather than the front of the pack. At the Japanese Grand Prix, he could only manage a 7th-place finish, while his teammate Leclerc crossed the line in 4th. It's not the kind of performance the team, or Hamilton, had envisioned when he made his dramatic switch from Mercedes. While both drivers have voiced their concerns about the car's current package, Hamilton believes his issues run deeper. In the first 3 races, there has been a small deficit between both sides of the garage in one element of the car, Hamilton explained. "I'm losing a little over a tenth per lap with this problem. It's good at least to know, even though the team doesn't know why it's happening. When a new component arrives, hopefully it'll disappear and it'll be the same on both cars." That component could very well be a new floor that both drivers have been pushing for. Under the current ground effect regulations, the floor plays a vital role in creating downforce and balance, and Ferrari's 2025 machine has shown some inconsistencies in that department. According to reports from La Gazzetta dello Sport, a redesigned floor is ready and could be introduced at the upcoming Bahrain Grand Prix. But despite the urgency from the drivers, team principal Frédéric Vasseur and technical director Loic Serra are reportedly hesitating. Behind the scenes, the pair are debating whether it's wiser to fully understand the current car before bringing upgrades. Their argument is that if Ferrari does not properly analyze the SF25's baseline performance, they risk papering over deeper issues that could hurt them long-term. "The decision will be made by Thursday," reported technical editor Paolo Filicetti, as the internal discussion continued. While the team debates, frustrations mount, especially on Hamilton's side of the garage. At 40 years old and in pursuit of an elusive eighth world title, Hamilton knows time is not on his side. The early season struggle isn't just about being off the pace, it's the mystery behind why he's off the pace that is most concerning. Team boss Vasseur has downplayed the speculation, suggesting the differences between Hamilton and Leclerc may simply come down to divergent setup philosophies. The balance is related to their setup decisions, he said. We're continuing to explore the new car and are taking different approaches to adapt to the drivers. I think the situation will be different in Bahrain because we were there for 3 days last month.